Jai Vande, Jai Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ji Ki Jai, Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ji Ki Jai, Jai Shri Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Raghava Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidangsta Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribol. Dandavat. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya SCSMission morning class. Continuing to worship the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 3, verse 143. This is glories of Haridas Thakur. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai and Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Text 143. Beshyara charitra deki loke chamatkara Haridasera mahima kahe kari namaskara. Seeing the sublime character of the prostitute, everyone was astonished. Everyone glorified the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. So of course we remember this prostitute was sent by an extremely envious person called Ramachandra Khan in order to pollute and spoil the respect that the people had for him, respect and love. So, but of course she was hearing him chant day after day, and she was completely purified and became really actually a very great devotee. Ramachandra Kana aparada bija kaila se bija vriksha hanya agete palila. By inducing a prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur, Ramachandra Khan caused a seed of offense at his lotus feet to germinate. This seed later became a tree, and when it fructified, Ramachandra Khan ate its fruits. Maharaparadera pala adbhuta katana prashtava panyakahi shuna bhaktagana. This offense at the lotus feet of an exalted devotee has resulted in a wonderful narration. Taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by these incidents, I shall explain what happened. O devotees, please listen. So one devotee was asking Guru Maharaj, well, we hear that every single word or even syllable of the Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. But we see there are so many demons and so many things. Hiranyakashipu is there. And how can we take that as being non-different from Krishna? And Guru Maharaj said, it is all for the glorification of Krishna. So because Krishna is so wonderful, he's dealing with these personalities and so on, and part of the divine pastimes. So in the same way, Ramachandra Khan committed a great offense at the holy lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, but it resulted in this wonderful narration. Text 146. Sahaje avaishnava Ramachandra Khan Haridasera aparade haila asura saman. Ramachandra Khan was naturally a non-devotee. Now, having offended the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, became just like a demoniac atheist. Vaishnava dharma nindakare Vaishnava apamana bahudinera aparade paila parinama. Because of blaspheming the cult of Vaishnavism and insulting the devotees for a long time, he now received the results of his offensive activities. Purport. Ramachandra Khan was a great offender at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas and Vishnu. Just as Ravana, although born of a Brahmin father, Vishvashrava, was nevertheless called an Asura or Rakshasa because of his offenses against Lord Ramachandra and Hanuman. And so Ramachandra Khan also became such an Asura because of his offenses against Haridas Thakur and many others. Text 148. Nityananda Gosai Gaude Jabe Aila Prema Pracharite Tabe Brahmite Lagila. When Lord Nityananda returned to Bengal to preach the cult of bhakti, love of Godhead, he began touring all over the country. Prema Charana Ara Pasanda Dalana Duikarye Avaduta Karena Brahmana. For two purposes: to spread the cult of bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheists. Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country. Sarvagya Nityananda Aila Taragare Asya Bashila Durga Mandapa Upare. Lord Nityananda, who is omniscient because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to the house of that same Ramachandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandap. So Ramachandra has some altar to Durga. Nityananda Prabhu went to his house and sat on the altar.
Who's Durga?
Durga Devi, she's like Maya Devi. Yeah, I mean, that's the short answer.
Okay.
She's the eternal consort, but she of Lord Shiva, but in a certain form, in a particular form, not that Maya Devi or that Parvati, who is existing in Sadashiva Loka, but as they are manifesting in this mundane world. Well-to-do Hindu gentlemen constructed their houses with a place called the Durga Mandap for the worship of goddess Durga. It's always to get some material gain. There they generally hold worship of the goddess every year in the month of Ashvina, September, October. Ramachandra Khan, possessed such a Durga Mandap at his residence. Aneka loka jana shange angana barila bitara haite Ramachandra sevaka pataila. When the Durga Mandap and courtyard became filled with crowds of men, Ramachandra Khan, who was inside the house, sent his servant to Lord Nityananda. So Nityananda Prabhu sat on this Durga Mandap, and so many people came to see him. And then he's like, sent his servant out. Well, Srila Prabhupada's giving a little context. In those days, and also even now, in the palatial buildings of respectable people, especially in the villages of Bengal, The houses were divided into two parts. The inside part was especially meant for the family, and the ladies would live there unexposed to men. That part was called the Bitar Badi, or the inside house, and in the outside house, or the Bahir Badi, the respectable gentleman received visitors and kept his business office. The Durga Mandap would be part of the outside house. Thus, when Lord Nityananda entered the outside house, Ramachandra Khan was in the inside house with the members of his family. When Nityananda Prabhu arrived, Ramachandra Khan did not receive him personally, but he sent a servant to inform him indirectly to go away. That's considered extremely rude. To come, I mean, it's in case of a Vaishnava coming to our house, it is actually offensive. We have to greet a devotee coming into the house. And not just greet him very friendly and please take a seat. Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Like that. Sevaka bale gosai mora pataila kana grihastera gare tomaya diba bhashastana. The servant informed Lord Nityananda, "My dear sir, Ramachandra Khan has sent me to accommodate you in some common man's house." You follow? Okay. So he's saying, in other words, Ramachandra Khan has sent me to send you away. You go to some ordinary man's house. This is a house of a great man. You should go to some ordinary person's house. Golayala gosalahai antyanta bishtara ihan sankirna stala tomara manusya apara. You might go to the house of a milkman, for the cowshed is spacious, whereas the space here in the Durga Mandap is insufficient because you have so many followers with you. Pitare achila shuni krode bahirila ata hasi gosai kahite lagila. When Nityananda Prabhu heard this order from the servant of Ramachandra Khan, he became very angry and came out. Laughing very loudly, he spoke as follows. Satya kahe egara mora yogyanai, mlecha go vadakare tara yogyahai. Ramachandra Khan has spoken rightly. This place is unfit for me. It is fit for cow-killing meat-eaters. Eta bali krode gosai utya chalila, tare danda dite se gramin narahila. Having said this, Lord Nityananda stood up and left in an angry mood to chastise Ramachandra Khan. He did not even stay in that village. Iha Ramachandra Khan sevake agyadila gosai jatan bashila taramati kodaila. Ramachandra Khan ordered the servant to dig up the dirt in the place where Nityananda Prabhu had sat. Wow. Gomaya jalele pita shabamandira prangana tabu Ramachandra ramana nahaila parasana. To purify the Durga Mandap temple and the courtyard, Ramachandra Khan sprinkled and smeared it with water mixed with cow dung, but still his mind was not satisfied. He was so envious. He's like cleaning the place where Nityananda Prabhu sat. And still he was like, Dasyu Virtikare Ramachandra Rajare Nade Akara Kudahanyam Lecha Ujira Aila Taragara. Ramachandra Khan's business was questionable, for he tried to avoid paying some income tax to the government. Therefore, the government minister of finance was angry and came to his residence. Ashi se Durga Mandape Basha Kaila Avadya Vadakari Mangsa Segare Randaila. The Muslim minister made his residence in the Durga Mandap of Ramachandra Khan. He killed a cow and cooked the meat at that very place. So this minister who was angry at Ramachandra Khan for avoiding the taxes, he just moved in to the Durga Mandap and killed a cow and cooked it right there. Sri Putra Sahita Ramachandra Revandiya Taragara Grama Lute Tina Dina Rahiya. He arrested Ramachandra Khan along with his wife and son, and then he continuously plundered the house and village for 3 days.
Plunder? What does that mean?
Stealing from everyone in the whole place, in the whole village, to completely punish everyone because Ramachandra Khan had cheated on his income tax. Se gare tina dina kare ame jarandana aradina shabalanya kari lagamana. So this was also the temperament of the many of the Muslim leaders at that time. They could just do anything and everything they wanted. In that very room, he cooked the flesh of a cow for 3 consecutive days. Then the next day he left, accompanied by his followers. Jati dana jana kanera shakala laila bahudina paryanta grama ujada rahila. The Muslim minister took away Ramachandra Khan's position, wealth, and followers. For many days the village remained deserted. That means everyone left. Mahantera apamana je desha grame hai akajana janara doshe shabadesha ujadai. Wherever an advanced devotee is insulted, for one man's fault, the entire town or place is afflicted. So this was all the arrangement of the Lord. Haridasa Thakura Chali Aila Chandapure Ashiara Hila Balarama Acharjera Gare. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandapur. There he stayed at the house of Balaramacharya. So that's what happened. As the result of that extreme offense to Haridas Thakur, everything was demolished. Even the whole village was demolished. In the village of Chandapur, the village of Chandapur is situated near the confluence of the rivers Ganges and Jamuna at Saptagram in the district of Hooghly. Hiranya Govardhana Dui Mulukera Majumadara Tara Purohita Balarama Nama Tahara. Hiranya and Govardhan were 2 governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Their priest was named Balaramacharya. And the word Majumadara refers to a treasurer who keeps accounts and revenue for the government. Haridasera kripa patra tate bhakti mane jatnakari takurere rakila se grame. Balaramacharya, being favored by Haridas Thakur, was very much attached to him. Therefore he kept Haridas Thakur in the village with great care and attention. Nirjana parna shalaya karena kirtana Balaramacharya grihe bhiksha nirvahana. In the village, Haridas Thakur was given a solitary thatched cottage where he performed the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He accepted prasadam at the house of Balaramacharya. Any questions so far? Raghunatha Dasa Balaka Karena Ajayana Haridasa Thakurere Jai Karena Darashana. Raghunath Das, who was the son of Govardhan Majumadar and was later to become Raghunath Das Goswami, was at that time a boy engaged in study. He came to see Haridas Thakur daily. So Raghunath Das, these were two brothers. Balaram, Govardhan and Balaram. No. Hiranya. Okay. So Hiranya and Govardhan were two brothers. And Haridas Thakur is taking his meals at the home of Balaramacharya, and Raghunath Das, who was just a boy at the time studying, he used to come to the home of Balaramacharya, who is the guru of their household, and always visit Haridas Thakur. Haridasa kripa kare tahara upare se kripa karana haila chaitanya paribare. Naturally, Haridas Thakur was merciful towards him, and because of the merciful benediction of this Vaishnava, he later attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. So Raghunath Das Goswami was very much favored by Haridas Thakur. So later he became one of the 6 Goswamis and great, great devotee of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. And Raghunath Das Thakur is the Acharya of Prayojan Tattva. So this is it's saying this Ramachandra Khan, the result of his activities and the result of Raghunath Das Goswami's activities are very different. Not only activities, but mood. You have a question about that?
Yeah.
Can they hear you?
Raghunath Das Goswami is also the Acharya of Jojan, along with Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami is the Acharya of Abhideya Tattva, meaning the means, how to practice, how to progress.
Then Abhideya is the goal, right?
No, Prayojan is the goal. That is Raghunath Das Goswami. Taha jai jai haila haridasa rama hima katana vyakyana adbhuta katashuna bhaktagana. At the residence of Hiranya and Govardhan, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. Oh devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. So Hiranya and Govardhan are brothers, and between them there's only one son. And that is Govardhan's son, Raghunath Das. So at the residence of Hiranya and Govardhan, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. They very much appreciated his divine grace. Oh devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. Akadina Balarama Minati Kariya Majumadarera Shabaya Aila Thakure Lanya. One day Balaramacharya, who was the priest of both of these brothers, the priest of their house, requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Majumadars, Hiranya and Govardhan. Thus Balaramacharya went there with Haridas Thakur. So maybe we can stop here, because this is the beginning of a new story, kind of. So I'll stop here, and you had a question you wanted to ask. So maybe this is a good time.
Okay. Let me word
I'm talking to Haridev Prabhu, by the way. So we're fortunate, boy, we are so fortunate to be hearing about the glories of Haridas Thakur. Just to hear his name is so wonderful, so uplifting and giving strength.
I remember that I read briefly on the Sermons of the Garden of Devotion, Volume 1, that Srila Guru Maharaj was telling us that if we remain in a negative thinking about ourselves, we can attain the positive. Like from a negative position, we can attain the positive. And maybe he was referring that if we think we are already exalted devotees, we should think that no.
I didn't quite hear that last part. What was that?
Maybe he was giving that idea for the moments when, if we think we're exalted devotees or we're advanced, we should consider that we're not, and we're very fallen. And that is a quality that all these Vaishnavas share in common. And my question or my request is if you could share some thoughts on that, on how come we balance the being positive in our practice and also the being negative, since our guardian is saying you should be negative.
Yeah. That's a big question. The negativity is coming in our need for mercy. It is also a quality of the positive. Because without appetite, how are you going to eat? Without necessity, why will you act? And without understanding our need for mercy, without having that degree of just really intelligence and almost common sense, we will not be able to progress toward the positive. That's from our point of view. And any time that we are feeling some want and some need in us, in our progress in spiritual life, that's a kind of, you could say, positive negativity. It is the negativity that attracts us to the positive and also attracts the positive to us. It's almost, if you could think of it, almost like a magnet. And that's a very crude example, but the positive attracts the negative, right? And the negative attracts the positive. So there is no real difference between the two. It is, and it increases, it doesn't decrease. With progress, with true progress in spiritual life, that quality increases. It doesn't decrease. No one thinks, Krishna is, I am so qualified, I've got Krishna. It's not like that. It's never going to be like that. There's always an increase of hankering to give more and more, as though you're not giving anything. It's so strong, Guru Maharaj is explaining this, that it is as though that devotee, he wants to give the whole of his existence as though he will cease to exist. His hankering to give is so much because of the sweetness and divine qualities of Krishna. But instead of becoming, sacrifice the existence becomes more exalted. So this is the quality of divine love. It's not to attain something like we attain it in the mundane world. This is positive and progressive immortality. It is always progressive. There is no end of it. Krishna's qualities have no end. And in fact, they're always increasing. We are told this. And so this hankering, this negativity, you can call that, is always increasing also. But it is extremely nectarian. It is the deepest meditation and connection. It is deeper than union. Is the feeling of, I don't have this, I need this, and deep, deep prayerfulness and hankering. That is deeper, much deeper than those feelings of, oh, I have this. So they're always alternating, like a snake, like the movement of a snake. Having, not having, having, not having. Union, separation. And this is going on very, we're speaking on a very deep level, hearing from our gurus, but we are also, when we feel ourselves in a position of need, it is much stronger. It awakens our feeling of spiritual progress is a funny word, because in the mundane world, progress and the divine progress is different. So it increases our necessity. And this kind of hypnotic, like almost sleepiness of, yeah, I got this. It's like almost like being asleep. There's no life in it. And that's the disappointment of materialistic thinking. It's disappointing. The attainment is always disappointing. The attainment is not, it's a mundane thing. It's not living. Living means hankering for divinity. That is eternal life. Anything else is going to end and it's just dead. It's dead and it ends in obvious dead. The material being the symptom of the consciousness. So, is that helpful?
Yes, it's helpful. That
as soon as the mind goes, man, I got this, you just notice that and fall at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu. My Lord, again I'm diving into the grave.
What do you mean by I got this?
Yeah, I'm good. I got this spiritual thing down. Boy, I'm good at that. Did you see how humble I was this morning? That was humble. It's all like fake. Mundane life is fake, top to bottom. Mundane consciousness is the consciousness of fakeness. It's not real. It's not true. And it's death. I got it means I'm dead. There's no life in there at all. It's like really jumping into a grave. But we tend to, and sometimes we do need a little encouragement, because of our, we need some encouragement sometimes, and we want to give encouragement to others also. That's another thing. It's a feature. Devotees like to give encouragement. Guru Maharaj said, my religion is praising others and finding fault with myself. That's not a brutal thing to us. This is to give me life. I must go on. But I want to give some encouragement to others. And not in a fake way, but to notice their Vaishnavata, their Vaishnava quality. To notice that. That is good for us also, and to give encouragement. It's not such an easy thing, Krishna consciousness, to fight the ego. And when someone is trying, then we want to help. And Guru Maharaj said, even, I heard this morning actually, I was transcribing it. Guru Maharaj was saying that we must see every event as the development of so many things that has had to come to this event. And we will see that also in the problems that others are facing. However, with compassion. So compassion is part of knowledge. He said this is the culture of love. So we cannot become indifferent or apathetic against. We have to feel compassion, even though we know that others are suffering for a reason. It is the result of development from many, many ages even maybe, or so many lifetimes. This has to come to this. But that doesn't mean we become apathetic or indifferent. We can give compassion mixed with knowledge. They can live in the same, they must live in the same room. But we are judging our association also. Because, we're trying to give different kinds of respect to different kinds of persons, and those who are against the teachings and really against, not just don't understand, but are against our gurus, then we will really keep them far away from us. So we're avoiding bad association. But at the same time, we can say a prayer to Nityananda, may this person one day become a devotee. But as we see in the example of Ramachandra Khan, I don't know what happened to him many, many lifetimes later, but it was not looking good. And anyway, when I see, we may become so horrified by the actions of others that we don't have to welcome them into our heart in any way. But those who are, are not come to that position of Vaishnava Ninda, who are just ignorant, don't know any better, but are not against anything, we can certainly feel compassionate toward them, even though they may not be interested in Krishna consciousness. So we have different relationships with different persons. But in terms of your question, yeah, it's very important to understand that. And it's not easy to face your own ego, but you have to. It's very necessary. Otherwise, we have two choices. Madness, because I simply won't accept, or avoidance. I'm going to run away from this. I'm not going to think about this. I'm going to run away. And just not think about it. Or, we have to embrace the Lord's desire for us. It has a purpose. He is behind it finally. It's not just our karma. It is the Lord's special hand to the devotee. He is giving us the necessity of karma for rectification, but he has caught that ball. Like karma is you throw your ball against the wall, it comes back. But when one begins to surrender to the Lord, when one comes under the holy lotus feet of the Vaishnava and takes initiation and is trying to progress in spiritual life and chant the holy name, Krishna has caught that ball. And he is giving it to us directly according to our necessity. It is no longer on that automatic process. So we have to see the Lord's will behind everything. Otherwise, we're not practicing Krishna consciousness. We're leaving Krishna out of Krishna consciousness. We don't want him to be a living thing. And Krishna is free. He's a person. He can do anything he wants. He can change his mind. He can want something one day and another thing another day. But at least from our beginning point of view, we have to take what is coming to us, what is irrevocably coming to me, as his grace. We must, or else what are we practicing? Guru Maharaj said this is a very hard nut to crack, but we must accept it. Not easy, but we must. We must accept who Krishna is, or else we're not. What are we? We're just making up a Krishna that's comfortable for us. But the real Krishna, he's arranging so many disasters in Vrindavan. And those disasters have given joy to people for 5,000 years. We have to become Krishna conscious.
Jai. Thank you, Didi.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Gurudev. Jai Guru Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai. So let's start to chant Upadesamrita again. We're memorizing this and I'm having such a hard time. Sometimes I can just remember Krishneti Yasya Giritam Manasaduyeta, just rattle it off. And then the next time I try, I can't remember it. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this verse. I guess the Lord wants me to keep meditating on it. Not go, okay, I got that one. Ready? Got your paper? Jai Shri Upadesamrita ki Jai. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam jiva vegam udara pasta vegam etam vegam jo visaheta dhira sarvam apimam prativim satsisyat. The urge of speech. Okay, we don't really have to read the English now. Maybe we should. The urge of speech, the urges of the mind and anger, the urge of the tongue, the urges of the belly and genitals, the sober person who can control all these urges, can instruct the entire world. Excuse me. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha Janasangascha lolyam cha
Sabdir bhakti vinasati. Over accumulation, over endeavor, unnecessary talk, misapplication of the rules, association with non-devotees, and fickle-mindedness. Bhakti or devotion is destroyed by these 6 faults.
Utsaha nishchayatarya tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato virte sati bhakti prasidyati. Enthusiasm, conviction, perseverance, engaging in favorable activities, giving up bad association, and following the conduct of the great souls. Devotion is nourished by these 6 qualities. Tadati pratigratnati guhyam makyati pruchati punkte bojayate chaiva sadvidam priti lakshanam. Giving and accepting gifts, discussing and inquiring about confidential matters. Giving and partaking of foods are the 6 characteristics of love. Krishneti yas giritam manasadriyeta Dikshasti chet pranati bisha pajantamanya Shushushaya bhaja vigyam bhajana vigyam ananyamanya. Shushushaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanya. Nindari shunya hidamipsita shangalabdya. Honor with the mind those who chant Krishna's name. Honor with obeisance those who are initiated and serve the Lord. And honor with service those who are expert in devotion, who are exclusively devoted, and whose hearts are free from the duality of criticizing and praising others, and who are the most desirable association. Then, Dishtai Svabhava Janiteva Pushascha Doshe Na Prakutatvam Miha Bhakta Janasya Pasyed Gangam Vasana Kalu Budpada Pena Ponker Brahmadravatvam Apagachati Niradharmai. So continuing with this, do not consider devotees in this world mundane because of faults in their nature and body. The water of the Ganges never loses its spiritual nature because of its bubbles, foam, and mud, which are natural in water. So there's two things about this I just want to say quickly. We are practitioner devotees, or we are, in other words, devotees of devotees. And we don't want to find fault in each other or like meditate on the faults of each other, but we do have faults. But those great souls who are descending Vaishnavas, they have no faults. And it makes whatever they're doing, which someone else may do in the spirit of exploitation, selfishness, envy, anger, whatever can be done by someone in this mundane consciousness as nasty, they can do them without any faults whatsoever. They will do them. They have no fault. So it is a great mistake to misidentify these things in the Vaishnava. Haribod, so text 137. We didn't get past this little bit yesterday. All these conceptions of ownership are false. All these transactions of morality are false because they are not in connection with the supreme truth. So the devotee's apparent misbehavior is quite the contrary in reality. Dvaitre bhadra bhadra jnana shabha manodharma e bala e manda e shabha brahma. In the material world, conceptions of good and bad or right and wrong are all mental concoctions. Therefore, saying this is good and this is bad is all a mistake. How can we understand that? It is a fact, and we can begin to perceive this very, very clearly through the practice of Sharanagati. So the deepest plane of reality, the deepest wave of Krishna consciousness is moving, and there are so many jiva souls are dancing. This is reality. It's not somewhere else. One can begin to understand and perceive, Guru Maharaj is saying, that there is a plane of consciousness around me which is actually truth. Just because I'm an illusion doesn't mean everything's an illusion. And in that plane of consciousness, the jiva souls are dancing. Dancing means serving happily. And that dance is the absolute dance, wherein everything surrenders to Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan. Sarvadharmam prityajya mam ekam. Mam ekam means me only. Mam ekam saranam. Everything belongs to Krishna, and for his satisfaction, anything and everything can be done. Anything. This is the only principle followed by the exclusive devotees without caring for the many relative demands and strictures of this false plane. That is nirguna, transcendental. In that plane, the calculation of false ownership cannot be applied. All claims of ownership have no value in Krishna consciousness. Ownership, the whole of the strictures of morality which are in this world is to try to regulate us who think that we are the doers and the owners. Therefore, otherwise, I own everything, like a kid, like some children. You put them down with some toys, and they automatically think that these are all my toys. And if some other child comes to take something, they will be very upset, like in a second. So, some children are not like that, of course, because it depends on their own consciousness that they've developed. But you can understand that. And so we're like that. I want this, therefore it's mine. And then there's some rules. No, but he thinks it's his, so there's some rules of morality to keep us from killing each other at every moment. But that don't apply to great souls. They never do anything in a spirit of possessiveness. There's another point that may also be considered in this verse. Once Parashar Muni was crossing a river. A young lady was piloting the boat. So there's this girl, her name was Satyavati, but she would take boats across the river. So he was in the boat, Parashar Muni. As the boat reached the middle of the river, Parashar suddenly became charmed by that young lady. He proposed that they unite, and they did. As a result of their union, guess who was born? Veda Vyas. Vyasadeva was born. Parashar was already a man of high sense control. But the time had come for the birth of Vyasa, and this created a necessity in this particular stage in him. Suddenly he was overwhelmed by lust and united with that lady. From their union came Vyasadeva, the compiler of all the Vedic scriptures. So this was the determination of universal will. But because Parashar Muni was who he was a Muni. He was great. He didn't have any problem with sense control. None. But this suddenly came. It was the arrangement of the Lord for the birth of Veda. This is a very important example of this verse. So we're not talking about some ordinary person losing control of, just doing something. We're talking about a really exalted person. So this is not the same. They're not the same as each other. Parashar is not to be accused or condemned. He is not a party to that. He's not the one arranging this. He is an instrument of the universal will. We should not consider that this is an event of lustfulness and criticize Parashar for his immoral action. He was inspired by some inner will and overpowered by the divine force of the nirguna will of Krishna. Nirguna means nothing to do with this mundane world. Only then do these things take place. So anything can happen. But when great souls are involved with any action, we cannot think this to be mundane. This will be offense. Or Arjuna. The whole Gita is spoken on a battlefield. And then Arjuna went lopping off heads at the end of it. That is nirguna. There is no wrong in it. It's fully in surrender to Krishna. So we can't apply any mundane morality to that situation at all, ever. It will cause very much interference with our life. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that it is not the action, but the background of the action that is to be considered. That is to be examined, not the action alone. The motive underlying the action, not the karma. But the karma means action. The motive underlying the action, not the karma, but the purpose. That is the culprit. That is what is to be examined. Ahalya Draupadi Kunti Tara Manodari Tata Mandodari Tata Panchakanya Smaren Nityam Mahab Pataka Nashini. From an ordinary standard of life, these 5 ladies are objectionable in character. You want to hear who these 5 ladies are?
Yes.
So I think I'm going to stop here though, because this is a whole thought about these particular ladies. In the case of each one of these ladies, from the point of view of Vedic morality, morality was transgressed by each one of them. But each one of them was extremely pure. So we can't be childish. It's not only the external thing which is to be understood. That will be childish. And I gave an example many times about this because I think for me it was really helpful that when I was going to Nepal on a bus with my husband, going up on a bus to Nepal, and it became dark, and there was we're right on the edge of the mountain, just going around up. But the bus had to stop because there had been some kind of incident on the road ahead. So the bus stopped, and then I thought, this will be my chance. I can go to the bathroom, so to speak, because it's dark. And otherwise, when a white lady wanders off, everybody follows her. So there was no chance, and there's nothing on the bus. So I told my husband, I'm going to go somewhere where the people are not. And I was just starting to walk away, and someone grabbed me by my shirt, like real hardly, and pulled me. And that normally would be an act of aggression, right? But my husband had been watching me walk away and saw that, and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "She's about to step off." I was about to step off the cliff. And suddenly I could hear the river really far down the canyon. Like this was high up. So from the point of view of morality, he's touching me. He has no right to touch me. And he touched me in a very aggressive way. From the point of view of morality, that is unacceptable behavior. But actually, he did something very valorous. I am indebted to him. I would have stepped off the cliff that night. I was about to, but I couldn't see anything. So I think that, for me, that was I thought about it a lot. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it in relation to this point, that it's not the action. And so Krishna says, a person who is devoted to me can kill the whole world. He's not doing anything wrong. He will never do anything wrong. He cannot do anything wrong. And we have to understand this point about the great souls. Haribo, Jai, Sri Sri Upadesamrita ki Jai, Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai. Haribo.
Jai.
Any questions?
On the chat, no. Hey. Hare Nama Krishnaya Navaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Upa Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. Iridai Gopina Nana Mohana. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Radhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghunatha. Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana. Jaha Unde Vignana Shavista Purana. Jai Gosai Jaramuita Radhasa. Dasavara Padalenu Mura Panchagrasa. Adira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivasa. Janame Janame Mura Eya Vilasa. Adira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivasa. Janame Janame Mura Eya Vilasa. Jai Gosai Jave Vraje Koina Vasa. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gorila Prakasha. Anande Volo Hari Vaja Vrindavana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Parimajai Jamana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Parapama Koriyasa. Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohinaru Tamadasa. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Suparika Shri Sri Guru Gaurachandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai. Shri Giraj Gaurang Ju Ki
Jai.
Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dharde Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda ki jai. Sannyasi Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila
Haridas Thakur
ki jai. Jai. Sadgoswami Prabhu ki jai. Sapashad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sapashad Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Hariya Sakamat ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission ki jai. Kol Kartal ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Today's Ekadasi Vrata, Ekadasi here in Salt Lake City, huh? Ki jai. So, the mother of devotion, Ekadashi. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Haribo.
Today with us on YouTube, there is someone called No One on YouTube.
No one in particular.
Saying Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandavat.
What does that mean, Mataji?
Mother.
Oh. And then Ankit Sihach, offering obeisances. And then on Facebook, Shyama Malini Didi, offering her Dandavat.
Dandavat.
Ganga Lila Didi as well, present, and Kumkum Didi.
Dandavat Devi. Dandavat. I mean, the reason he's reading these names is because if we have the company of the devotees, we don't want to not give our proper respect for greetings. All right, Dandavat.